Welcome to the Cybersecurity Competition Federation show. I'm Dan Manson. I teach computer information systems at Cal Poly Pomona and serve as principal investigator for a National Science Foundation grant to help form an umbrella organization over cybersecurity competitions. The Cybersecurity Competition Federation can support the development of skill at a large scale by bringing cybersecurity competitions under an umbrella organization, which will help players of all ages and skill levels identify a point of entry into a continuum of cybersecurity competition experiences. With a focus on communication and promotion, the CCF maintains the autonomy of competition creators, supports their business models, and does not interfere with their sponsorship or funding sources. This week, we wrap up our multi-part series of CyberFed cybersecurity competition coverage from Black Hat and DEF CON. In this segment, we talk with David Schwarzberg, principal organizer for Hack for Kids. Hack for Kids is an event by ethical hackers and information security professionals dedicated to bringing the educational and communal benefits of white hat hacking conferences to children and young adults, and provides a point of entry into cybersecurity competitions.
It's clear that the need for people with skills, cybersecurity skills, IT skills in general, keeps growing, and that we're not turning out enough people. Is part of the solution starting this with kids at a younger age?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because we're viewing that as kind of like not just grassroots, but a mud roots kind of perspective, where if they're starting to have these skills now, when they're older and they need to make decisions as an executive or a leader, or even just as a researcher, instead of thinking about it and then saying, well, the cost of security and adding that into design is so much more complicated, let's just go the cheaper route, which is kind of where we're living now, and that security is an afterthought. We're really working on the long game, so as these youths grow up, they're going to make the correct decisions sooner in the design, not later.
Our society seems to understand certain pathways and not others. So they understand there's a pathway in learning math. So you learn basic arithmetic, then you learn algebra, then you learn geometry, then you learn calculus. If you're an athlete, they understand if you're going to play baseball, you start playing t-ball, then you play Little League. But when it comes to cybersecurity and when it comes to hacking, our society seems to be afraid of kids getting into trouble by learning this. What's your response to that?
The word hacker or hacking was originally not intended to be something that meant criminal or malicious activity. It was mutated, and now that new meaning is out there, that's exactly the reaction of a lot of people when we say, hey, would you like to come to a youth-based hacking conference? What do you mean hacking? You're teaching kids how to be criminal? No, we're really teaching them how to look at something in a different way, kind of turn it on its side and its head, and then go, oh, I didn't know I could make it do that. Or, oh, look, I found a way to break it, and now I could do something in there that I wasn't supposed to do, and if I can do it, I'm sure someone else can. So maybe I should tell the person who built this, they need to fix it. And that's really what hacking is about, not breaking the law.
Is there a synergy between what you're doing with Hack for Kids and motivating kids to go on and be part of cybersecurity competitions?
Absolutely, I do see that there's a synergy, and the reason why I see that is we're really starting to teach the kids that technology is not something to just kind of accept for what's given to you. Look at it differently, test your skills, and then compete with one another in a very friendly competition, and that's what this is really about. All these different competitions that you mentioned is really a way to kind of have them test what they know, think outside the box, and really kind of push their limits. And that's what we're trying to do as well.
What are you looking for in terms of partnership and support?
First and foremost, the hardest thing is really financing and funding. Fortunately, my background's accounting and business with some law, as well as technology, so I understand what needs to be done to run a business, but also to generate some revenue in order to give these kids what they need. And the more funds that we have, the better stuff that we can get them. That's the first and foremost thing. So anybody who wants to make a donation, they can go to our website. There's a donate button and just make a donation as much as they like. Secondly, it's volunteers. It's really the volunteers that make Hack for Kids as awesome as it is. And without having quality volunteers who can be there and be responsive and bring their skills and their passion for technology to Hack for Kids, I mean, that's what we need.
We continue this week with Inside the Game. Jason, welcome back.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, everybody.
I really enjoyed this segment. I think that what David's doing with Hack for Kids is so needed. He talks about the term mud roots, which is really even cooler than grassroots. You know, these kids need role models. They need safe places to learn. You know, we had a segment on a few months ago with Cyber Patriot talking about what do you need to play Cyber Patriot? Well, you need this curiosity. Well, these kids have curiosity, and what Hack for Kids does, it channels that curiosity in a positive way. And every time they do Hack for Kids, they do the ISC Square cyber safety program, so that the kids are taught ethics. They're taught within a framework that tells them what you're learning, you need to learn for good. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I think it's very interesting. There was one thing in particular that I liked about that interview. When he was talking about the idea of bolting on security is always more expensive. We've talked about that for like 7 or 8 decades now, and it hasn't changed. And I think what he really hit on is what hasn't changed is the people. The technology's clearly changed just in the last 6 months, right? It's not the technology. And the people haven't changed because we train them the same way. And I think we pretend as an industry that we can somehow change that after they're in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And by starting with kids much earlier and just giving that, like you were asking him about math education, there's a clear linear progression, and that starts very young. And we can keep escalating that because we're starting younger and younger, right? I think we can do the exact same thing with technology.
I worked for an aerospace company a long time ago, and we went through a major system implementation, and we were trying to go through a change as well, a corporate change, because we didn't want to just use the software the way we've always used it. And one of the comments from the consultant stuck with me. He said, sometimes the only way you can change people is to change people. Well, we need a lot more people going into this profession that look at security differently, that don't accept the status quo, that don't accept that it's an afterthought. And I really think the more hands-on experience these kids have, understanding the flaws in the security, the vulnerability of security, and getting that experience hacking in the right way, the more we have a chance to change the society.
Indubitably, it's going to make them better human beings. If we just look at the cognitive science behind reaching people at that age, exactly what you said earlier, they're inherently curious. They're trying to explore the world to consume more information so that they can mature. That's just human development. And it's the perfect time to step in, right, and apply this treatment of, look, this is technology, and technology itself is neutral, it's inanimate, right? We personify it, especially in the media, to twist it into something that's newsworthy. But technology will always be here. It's only going to increase its prevalence and its importance to our society. And not understanding how to use that, whether you go into cybersecurity as a profession or not, is bad for the species.
And I like David's last answer when I asked him, what do you need? Well, of course, funding is something we always need to grow. But the need for the mentors, the need for the volunteers, to me, is huge. And I think companies across the country, whether it's cybersecurity or whether it's the IT workforce, they have this opportunity to develop the next generation and to really to guide them in the right way.
Yeah, you know, you like to throw down the gauntlet. I'm going to throw down the gauntlet this time. I'm going to put out there that I bet that it's far more economically viable, more cost effective to donate time and money to things like Roots for Kids than it is to try and train people after you've onboarded them as adults.
I completely agree. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Dan. Later, everybody.
Jason, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad Uncle Jimmy's back. How's he doing?
You know, I think he's fully recovered. He has a great challenge for week 9. When you want to check it out, it's at unclejimmyschallenges.com. This is a hard challenge. He built kind of a couple pieces of software that send messages back and forth, and you kind of have to sniff the traffic and decode some stuff and carve some files out. It's pretty complicated. I think I found out why he's making so much progress, Dan. His wife, Aunt Edith, man, has really had enough of his shenanigans. You know, she had to deal with him for years and all of his betting habits, and now she is getting involved with the cybersecurity challenges.
That's wonderful. You know, I can't wait to see what Aunt Edith can come up with.
Yeah, well, of course, the thing is she's not technical. Jimmy wasn't either, but, you know, I kind of helped the guy out. Aunt Edith kind of has a strong personality, and she likes to point out how people weren't really doing it the right way. So she likes to throw down edicts is a good way to describe it.
So Aunt Edith is going to be a little stricter about her challenges than Jimmy was with his?
I think that's an easy way to say it, yeah. Yeah, she can really, well, she has a way of saying it, I'll put it that way.
We have something to look forward to.
Absolutely. I think she'll be making an appearance soon.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Dan.
If you have a competition you would like us to cover in a future show, please contact us at cyberfed.org. I'm Dan Manson. See you next week.